Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving deep into some timeless truths, the kind of wisdom that keeps life in perspective. You know, those thoughts that make you go, yeah, that's actually pretty true. Sometimes we all need a reminder of what's important, what we should hold on to, and what we should let go of. If you're into real, no-nonsense life advice that makes you think, you're in the right place. So grab a cup of coffee, sit back, and let's explore these truths together. And hey, if you find value in this content, don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification bell, like this video, and leave a comment with your favorite piece of wisdom. Let's get into it. You know, sometimes life is all about the things we don't say out loud, but they hit home when someone else finally does. Like, don't tell your problems to everyone, 80% don't care, and the other 20%? Yeah, they're probably glad you have them. It's harsh, but there's truth there. We tend to think that sharing our struggles is the way to get people on our side, but the reality is most people have enough of their own issues. It doesn't mean we should shut down or keep everything to ourselves, but it's a reminder to be selective with whom we share. Choose the people who actually care, not just those who are around. Stop looking for the good in people. That doesn't mean be cynical. Instead, start looking for good people. There's a big difference there. The first one will leave you exhausted and disappointed when people don't meet your expectations. The second? Well, it'll help you surround yourself with people who genuinely add to your life. It saves time, heartbreak, and mental energy. You have to do what's right for you. No one else is walking in your shoes, and no one else understands the path you're on. We get so caught up worrying about what others think of us or how they expect us to live that we forget whose life it is in the first place. Remember, it's yours, not theirs. And guess what? When you make decisions based on what's best for you, everything else falls into place. The more thankful you are, the more you attract things to be thankful for. Gratitude is powerful. It's like a magnet for the good in life. Ever notice how when you're genuinely grateful, it feels like more good things start to happen? It's not some magic trick, it's your perspective shifting, and with that comes a whole new reality. Here's a reminder, never let a bad day make you feel like you have a bad life. We all have those moments when nothing seems to go right, but it's just a day, not a life sentence. Sometimes we give too much power to one tough moment and forget all the incredible things that have happened before it. Keep that in mind the next time everything feels like it's going wrong. Every second you spend comparing your life to someone else's is a second you're wasting. Comparison is the thief of joy, and in a world where social media lets us constantly peek into other people's highlight reels, it's tempting to feel like we're falling behind. But every time you compare, you're wasting moments you could be using to make your own life amazing. Here's a bit of a visual for you. You can lie down for people to walk on you, and they'll still complain you're not flat enough. It sounds absurd, right? But think about it. No matter how much you give, how much you sacrifice, there will always be people who want more, who think you're not enough. So why bother trying to meet their impossible expectations? Live for you, not for them. When thinking about life, remember this: no amount of guilt can change the past, and no amount of anxiety can change the future. We spend so much time worrying about what we've done wrong and stressing over what might happen that we forget to live now. The past is gone, and the future isn't here yet. All you really have is this moment, so make it count. Every person in your life is a teacher. Some bring lessons about love, kindness, and support, while others teach you what to avoid, how not to behave, and what doesn't align with your values. It's easy to hold grudges against those who hurt us, but instead, try to see them as teachers, even if they taught you what pain feels like. It's still a lesson, and every lesson shapes who you are. People often show their true colors when you're no longer beneficial to them. When you're of no use to someone, that's when you truly see what they think of you. It might sting, but it's important to notice. If someone's affection disappears when you stop being useful, take note, that's not real friendship, and it's better to know sooner than later. Don't get married just because you think it's something you have to do. Society loves to tell us what milestones we should hit and when, but none of that really matters. Get married if it's right for you, with the right person, at the right time. not because it's expected or because the clock is ticking. In reality, you don't have as much time as you think, but that also means you shouldn't waste it doing things that don't make you genuinely happy. Tell the people you love that you love them, and say it often. We assume that people just know, but the truth is, we all need reminders. Life is short, and tomorrow is never promised. Don't let pride or fear stop you from letting the people you care about know how you feel. If you've never questioned whether or not you made the right decision, you probably haven't taken big enough risks. Life is about stepping out of your comfort zone, taking chances that make your heart beat faster. And yeah, sometimes you might wonder if you did the right thing, but that's just part of growing. Not everyone is as down for you as they say they are. Words are easy, action is what counts. Pay attention not to what people say, but what they do. Real loyalty isn't something that's advertised, it's shown in moments when you need it most. Trust actions, not promises. You can't love somebody enough to make them love you back. Love isn't about how much you give. If the feeling isn't mutual, no amount of effort will change that. And that's okay. You deserve someone who loves you as much as you love them, without having to prove your worth over and over again. Be careful with your words. Once they're said, they can be forgiven, but they can't be forgotten. We underestimate the power of our words. They can heal or they can deeply wound. So take a moment to think before you speak, especially when you're emotional. Words can linger long after an apology. Don't let someone who did you wrong make you think there's something wrong with you. Just because someone treated you poorly doesn't mean you deserved it or that there's something wrong with you. Often, people project their own insecurities onto others. Their behavior is about them, not about you. Know your worth, even if they didn't. Alright, let's dive into more of these life lessons that can keep us on track. Sometimes, it's not what we do but what we decide not to do that really makes all the difference. If you're willing to sacrifice what you want most for what you want right now, then your future is going to be filled with disappointment. This one hits home because, in life, instant gratification is so tempting. We see it everywhere. Advertisements tell us to treat ourselves and live in the moment, but there's a fine line between enjoying the present and sabotaging our future. True fulfillment requires discipline and focus. It's not always easy, but the things we truly want are worth waiting for. Being single with peace of mind is way better than having a relationship with someone who makes your life miserable. We sometimes get stuck thinking that being alone is a failure, but that's so far from the truth. The wrong relationship can be toxic, draining your energy and happiness. If the relationship you're in doesn't add value to your life, it's okay to walk away. Peace is priceless. Sometimes you just have to say no and ignore the guilt trip that follows. This is one of those tough lessons that only gets easier with practice. People will always have expectations of you, but if you give in to everything, you lose control over your own life. Saying no doesn't make you a bad person, it means you're respecting your own boundaries. And honestly, people who respect you will understand. Often, the right thing and the hardest thing are the same. Doing what's right isn't always comfortable. It might mean standing up for someone, even when it would be easier to stay silent. It might mean walking away from a job that pays well but makes you unhappy. The hardest decisions often lead to the most rewarding outcomes. What you do today can improve all your tomorrows. It's easy to think that today doesn't matter, that it's just one day, but all those one days add up. Every small choice, every habit you build, is either taking you closer to your goals or further away. It's important to take actions today that your future self will thank you for. Sometimes in life, your situation will keep repeating itself until you learn your lesson. Ever notice how you keep facing the same kind of challenges over and over? That's life telling you there's a lesson you haven't learned yet. Whether it's relationships, work, or personal growth, if the same issue keeps popping up, it's a sign that there's something you need to address. You will not be punished for your anger, but you will be punished by your anger. Anger is one of those emotions that can take over if we let it. It feels powerful in the moment, but often it only ends up hurting us. It's not about suppressing your feelings, but rather learning to manage them in a way that doesn't leave you worse off. Sometimes, the people you hang around will shape your life in more ways than you know. Who you surround yourself with matters. If the people in your life are constantly negative or dragging you down, that's going to affect you. Conversely, being around positive, motivated people can inspire you and push you to be better. Choose your circle wisely. Sometimes there's no right decision to make. In those cases, you just have to make a decision and then work to make it right. Life doesn't always present us with clear-cut choices. Sometimes both options are equally tough or uncertain. In those moments, the worst thing you can do is nothing. Make a choice, and then commit to it. You can always adjust along the way. The greatest mistake you can make in life is to be continually fearing you will make one. Fear holds us back from so much. We're so scared of making the wrong move that we end up not moving at all. Mistakes are part of life, they're how we learn, grow, and improve. So instead of fearing mistakes, embrace them as stepping stones. Learn to be content and happy by yourself. If you need company to be happy, then it will make you weak. Happiness that depends on someone else is fragile. Learning to enjoy your own company, to be content without external validation, is one of the strongest positions you can be in. It means that your happiness is yours, not dependent on someone else's presence. You're not responsible for what other people expect from you. This one is big. Expectations are everywhere, from family, friends, society. But at the end of the day, you can't control what people expect from you. All you can do is stay true to yourself and live in a way that feels right for you. You're not obligated to meet anyone else's expectations, but your own. Not every thought needs to be expressed. Just because something crosses your mind doesn't mean it needs to be said. There's power in silence, in choosing when to speak and when to let something go. Expressing every thought can lead to unnecessary drama or conflict. Sometimes, it's best to just keep it to yourself. There are things in life we don't want to happen but have to accept, things we don't want to know but have to learn, and people we can't live without but have to let go. Life is filled with difficult truths, and the sooner we learn to accept them, the better we'll be able to cope. Acceptance doesn't mean liking something, it just means acknowledging reality and finding a way to move forward. No matter who tries to teach you lessons about life, you won't understand it until you go through it on your own. Experience is the best teacher. We can get advice from everyone around us, but until we actually go through something ourselves, it's hard to fully grasp the lesson. Life has a way of teaching us in ways that words never could. You can start your life over any time you want. You can start being the person you actually want to be today, right now. There's no rule that says you have to be defined by your past. If you don't like who you've been or the direction your life is going, you have the power to change it. It's never too late to start fresh. The people who ask the most from you are often the people who do the least for you. It's a sad truth, but the ones who seem to demand your time, energy, and resources are often the ones who are least willing to give anything in return. It's important to recognize this dynamic and set boundaries to protect yourself from being taken advantage of. Never sacrifice these three things: your family, your heart, or your dignity. There are many things in life that can be compromised, but these three are non-negotiable. Family, love, and your sense of self-worth should never be on the bargaining table. Hold on to them, no matter what. Always look at where you're going, not where you've been. It's easy to get caught up in the past, replaying old mistakes or wondering what could have been. But the past is over. The only thing that matters is where you're headed. Focus forward, and don't let the past hold you back. Sometimes it's not the people who change, it's the mask that falls off. People can put on a facade for a long time, but eventually, their true selves come to light. It's important to remember that not everyone is who they seem at first. Be patient, and let time reveal who's really in your corner. Show respect even to people who don't deserve it, not as a reflection of their character, but as a reflection of yours. Respect isn't about the other person, it's about you. How you treat others, even those who don't deserve it, speaks volumes about your own integrity and character. Don't let someone else's behavior change who you are. When you find no solution to a problem, it's probably not a problem to be solved, but rather a truth to be accepted. Some things in life just don't have an answer, no matter how much we try to solve them. In those cases, acceptance is the only way forward. It's not about giving up, it's about letting go of the struggle and finding peace with what is. Let's keep this going with more of those life lessons that help us stay grounded and understand what's truly important. Life is a way of teaching us, sometimes in the most unexpected ways, so let's keep exploring. Nothing ever goes away until it teaches us what we need to know. Have you ever felt like the same situation keeps coming back into your life, just with different faces or scenarios? That's because there's something there you haven't learned yet. The sooner we understand and embrace the lesson, the sooner we can move forward without the burden of repeating the same mistakes. Don't make permanent decisions based on temporary emotions. This is such a powerful reminder. When we're upset or hurt, it's easy to make decisions that we think will make us feel better in the moment, but those choices can have long-term consequences. Remember, emotions are temporary, they come and go like waves. Don't let them dictate decisions that could change your life forever. Sometimes it's best to cut people off, no matter how hard it is. Not everyone is meant to stay in your life, and that's okay. It's hard, especially when you care deeply about someone, but sometimes letting go is the healthiest thing you can do. There are people who drain your energy, who bring nothing but negativity. It's okay to walk away from those people, your peace is worth it. To understand a person's character, don't just look at their actions, observe their reactions. Actions can be planned, calculated to make an impression, but reactions are raw. They show a person's true nature, especially under pressure. How someone reacts to stress, to disappointment, to failure, that's when you see who they really are. The way people treat you is a reflection of their character, not yours. It's easy to internalize someone else's behavior and think it's about you, but the truth is, how someone treats you speaks volumes about who they are. Don't take it personally, their actions reflect their values, insecurities, and upbringing, not your worth. Mistakes are proof that you're trying. We often beat ourselves up over mistakes, but the truth is, they're just evidence that we're putting in the effort. If you're not making mistakes, you're not challenging yourself. So instead of fearing mistakes, embrace them as part of the journey. Each one teaches you something that brings you closer to your goal. Love is not enough to make a happy, lasting relationship. It's a tough pill to swallow, but love alone doesn't make a relationship work. Respect, trust, communication, those are just as important. You need someone who's willing to work with you, who's willing to put in the effort when things get hard. Love is the foundation, but without the rest, it can't hold up. Everything in life teaches you a lesson, you just have to be willing to learn. Life is full of lessons, some pleasant and others painful. But each one has something to teach us if we're open to learning. It's all about perspective. Even the hardest moments have something valuable to offer, some wisdom that can help us grow. The measure of a person is the way they bear up under misfortune. It's easy to be positive and kind when everything is going well. But how do you handle life when it falls apart? That's when true character is revealed. It's in the face of adversity that we show who we really are, what we're really made of. If you put someone on a pedestal, they have no choice but to look down on you. We've all been there, admiring someone so much that we start to believe they can do no wrong. But putting people on a pedestal is unfair to both them and you. It creates unrealistic expectations and an unbalanced relationship. Remember, everyone is human, everyone has flaws. Each pain makes you stronger, each betrayal more intelligent, and each disappointment more wise. Pain is a teacher, even though we wish it weren't. Every hurt, every betrayal teaches us something new about ourselves and about the world. We learn to be more resilient, to guard our hearts better, to trust our intuition. With each experience, we become wiser. When you get married, everything good and everything bad about your relationship intensifies. Marriage is a magnifying glass. The little quirks you found cute might become annoying, and the issues you ignored might become impossible to overlook. It's important to understand that marriage doesn't fix problems, it makes them bigger. Make sure the foundation is solid before taking that step. You teach people how to treat you. This is one of those things that sounds simple but can be life-changing. The way you allow others to treat you sets the standard for future behavior. If you accept disrespect, people will keep disrespecting you. If you demand kindness, respect, and honesty, people will meet that standard or they'll leave. You have the power to set the tone for how others treat you. Things rarely change for the better unless you change them. Change doesn't just happen by itself, you have to make it happen. If you want your life to improve, if you want to feel happier or more fulfilled, you have to take action. It might be uncomfortable, it might be challenging, but waiting around for things to get better on their own is a recipe for disappointment. Hard times are often blessings in disguise. It might not feel like it when you're in the middle of it, but tough times often lead to growth and transformation. They push us out of our comfort zones, they force us to confront things we've been avoiding. And when we come out the other side, we're stronger, wiser, and better prepared for what's to come. Let go and let life strengthen you. No matter how much it hurts, hold your head up and keep going. Sometimes, all you can do is keep moving forward. Life is tough, and there will be moments when it feels like you can't take another step. But that's when it's most important to keep going. Every step forward is a step towards a better, stronger version of yourself. Sometimes it's a blessing to not get what you want. We often have a clear idea of what we think will make us happy, but sometimes the universe has other plans. Looking back, there are probably things you wanted so badly that you didn't get, and now you're grateful for it. Trust that sometimes not getting what you want is a redirection to something better. The more you like yourself, the less you'll need others to validate you. Self-love is one of the most powerful things you can cultivate. When you like who you are, when you're proud of yourself, you stop needing external validation. Other people's opinions become just that, opinions. They no longer define your worth or dictate your happiness. Just because you're good at keeping other people's secrets doesn't mean they'll do the same for you. Trust is a delicate thing. Just because you're loyal doesn't mean others will be. It's important to recognize who deserves your trust and who doesn't. Not everyone operates by the same code you do, and it's better to learn that sooner rather than later. Very often, a change of self is needed more than a change of scene. We often think that if we change our environment, we'll be happier. But the truth is, unless you change yourself, your mindset, and your habits, no new place will make you happy. True change comes from within, not from running away or starting over somewhere new. It is possible to commit no mistakes and still lose. That is not a weakness, that is life. Sometimes, you can do everything right and still not get the outcome you want. It's not about failure, it's about understanding that life doesn't always reward effort in the way we expect. It's about resilience, about continuing to try even when things don't go your way. Inner peace begins the moment you choose not to allow another person or event to control your emotions. It's easy to react to what's happening around us, to let other people's actions dictate our feelings. But true peace comes from within, from deciding that no matter what happens, you won't let it disturb your inner calm. It's not easy, but it's worth striving for. If you're finding these insights helpful, make sure to subscribe, like this video, and turn on notifications so you never miss out on more content like this. Leave a comment down below about which piece of wisdom hit home for you. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let's keep rolling with more of these lessons. Sometimes the simplest reminders are the ones that help us the most. Life's wisdom is often about taking a step back, reflecting, and realizing what's really important. There can be no progress, no achievement, without sacrifice. A lot of us want to move forward, to achieve great things, but we're not always willing to let go of what's holding us back. Whether it's time, comfort, or even relationships, progress often requires giving something up. The key is to make sacrifices that align with your values and your goals, even when it's difficult. We advance in life when we let go of fear. Fear is a paralyzer. It keeps us from making decisions, from stepping out of our comfort zones, from pursuing our dreams. Letting go of fear doesn't mean it disappears, but it means you move forward anyway. It means you trust that whatever happens, you can handle it. A man who wants something will find a way, a man who doesn't will find an excuse. It's easy to blame circumstances, lack of time, or other people for why we can't do something. But when you truly want something, when you're determined, you make it happen. You find a way around obstacles instead of using them as reasons to stop. Some people will not like you no matter how hard you try to win their favor. This one's tough to accept, but not everyone will be in your corner, and that's okay. Trying to make everyone like you is exhausting and, frankly, impossible. Focus on being the best version of yourself, and let the right people come to you. You have to take chances sometimes, even if it scares you. The biggest growth happens outside of your comfort zone. Whether it's a career change, moving to a new city, or taking a leap in a relationship, nothing great ever happens by staying safe. Sure, there's risk involved, but without it, you'll never know what could have been. People give you advice based on their perspective. This is why it's so important to take advice with a grain of salt. People can only speak from their own experiences, their own fears, and their own biases. What works for someone else might not work for you, and what scares them might not scare you. Listen, but trust your own judgment. The greater danger for most of us lies not in setting our aim too high and falling short, but in setting our aim too low and achieving it. We often underestimate what we're capable of, and in doing so, we set goals that are too small. But when you aim low, you limit your potential. Set big goals, even if you don't achieve them, you'll end up further than if you'd aimed small. Be a reflection of what you'd like to receive. If you want love, give love. If you want respect, give respect. What you put out into the world often comes back to you. It's not always immediate, and it's not always obvious, but your actions create ripples. Treat others the way you want to be treated, and over time, you'll find that energy returning to you. Never speak from a place of hate, jealousy, anger, or insecurity. Evaluate your words before you let them leave your lips. Words are powerful, and once spoken, they can't be taken back. Speaking in anger or jealousy often leads to regret. Take a moment to breathe, reflect, and choose your words wisely. You'll thank yourself later. You only get one body, take care of it. It's easy to take our health for granted when we're young, but the choices we make now affect us down the line. Eating well, exercising, resting, these are investments in your future. Your body is the vehicle that carries you through life, so treat it with care and respect. If someone emphasizes that they're telling the truth, you can be sure they're lying. It's a funny thing about human nature, when someone feels the need to keep insisting on their honesty, it often means the opposite. People who are telling the truth don't need to overemphasize it. Pay attention to actions more than words, they reveal more than declarations ever could. Don't base your self-worth on the opinions of others. The value you place on yourself should come from within, not from what others say or think about you. People's opinions change, and trying to keep up with them will leave you constantly doubting yourself. Know your worth, regardless of outside validation. If you don't like something about your life, you have to change it. It's easy to complain, to feel stuck, but at the end of the day, the power to change lies with you. It might not be easy, it might not be immediate, but if there's something you don't like, take steps to change it. You are not powerless, your life is your responsibility. When writing the story of your life, don't let anyone else hold the pen. Your life is yours to create, and no one else gets to dictate the choices you make. It's okay to seek guidance, to listen to others, but ultimately, you are the author of your own story. Don't let anyone else decide the direction of your life. Don't do anything that you will have to lie about later. Honesty is a cornerstone of integrity. If you find yourself doing things that you're ashamed of, that you feel the need to hide, it's time to reevaluate your actions. Living in alignment with your values means making choices you can stand behind, even when no one is watching. Making others look bad doesn't make you look better. Insecurity often leads people to put others down, thinking it will elevate them. But true confidence comes from within, not from making someone else look smaller. Lift others up, support them, and you'll find that your own light shines brighter. Prioritizing yourself is not selfish. There's a difference between being selfish and setting healthy boundaries. Taking care of your needs, making your mental health a priority, and protecting your energy is necessary. You can't pour from an empty cup. If you're constantly giving without taking care of yourself, you'll burn out. Light travels faster than sound, that's why some people appear bright until you hear them speak. It's a humorous reminder that not everything is as it seems. Don't be fooled by appearances. True intelligence, wisdom, and kindness are revealed in actions and words, not just in how someone presents themselves. Sometimes you just need to relax and have faith that things will work out. Let go a little and just let life happen. We often try to control everything, to plan every detail, but sometimes the best thing we can do is let go. Trust that things will work out, even if it's not exactly how you envisioned. Life has a way of unfolding in unexpected but beautiful ways. Life is inherently risky. There's only one big risk you should avoid at all costs, and that's the risk of doing nothing. The biggest regret most people have is not the things they tried and failed at, but the things they never tried at all. Take the risk, make the leap, and trust that even if you fall, you'll learn something valuable along the way. You're the only person who has to be with yourself 100% of the time, so start liking yourself and who you are. Self-acceptance is crucial for happiness. You can't escape yourself, so why not make peace with who you are? Work on the things you want to improve, but learn to love yourself in the process. Life is so much more enjoyable when you're your own biggest supporter. Overthinking ruins you. It twists things around, makes you worry about questions that don't need answers, and makes everything worse than it actually is. Overthinking is a habit, and like any habit, it can be changed. Practice mindfulness, focus on the present, and let go of the need to analyze everything to death. Trust yourself to handle things as they come. Don't worry about what people say behind your back. They are the people who are always finding faults in your life instead of fixing the faults in their own. Gossip is often more about the person spreading it than the person it's about. Let people talk, it says more about them than it does about you. Focus on your own growth, and leave the chatter behind. If you're enjoying these insights and want to stay on this journey of growth and wisdom, make sure to subscribe, like this video, and hit the notification bell. I love hearing your thoughts, so leave a comment down below and share which lesson spoke to you the most. Here we are again, diving deeper into more life lessons that help us make sense of this unpredictable journey. Sometimes, it's the simple realizations that can have the biggest impact on how we live and who we become. Life doesn't get easier, but we get stronger. It's easy to wish that challenges would just disappear, that life would somehow smooth out. But the truth is, the challenges don't go away, we just get better at dealing with them. Every obstacle, every setback, is an opportunity to grow. It's not about life being easier, it's about becoming resilient enough to handle whatever comes your way. It's not the mistakes that define one's character, but the manner in which one responds to those mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes, it's part of being human. What matters is how you respond to them. Do you learn from them? Do you take responsibility? Do you grow? Mistakes are inevitable, but how you handle them defines who you are. People will disappoint you, so never put all your trust in anyone. It's important to have boundaries, even with those closest to you. Trust is crucial in relationships, but blind trust can lead to heartbreak. Remember, everyone is human, and humans are flawed. It's okay to rely on others, but don't make anyone your entire foundation. Make sure you can stand on your own, too. Hard work doesn't always guarantee success, but laziness almost certainly guarantees failure. You might work hard and still not get exactly where you want to be, but at least you're moving forward. Doing nothing, on the other hand, guarantees that you'll stay exactly where you are. Put in the effort, take the steps, and trust that even if the outcome isn't perfect, it's still progress. You'll never be truly happy if you constantly seek validation from others. Happiness that depends on other people's approval is fragile. It can be taken away at any moment because it's not rooted in yourself. True happiness comes from within, from knowing who you are and being proud of that person, regardless of what anyone else thinks. Anything that you start to take a relaxed attitude towards stops controlling you. It's often our resistance to something that gives it power over us. When you let go of the tension, the obsession, or the fear, you take back control. Whether it's a challenging situation or an unhealthy attachment, relaxing your grip can be the first step toward freedom. The pursuit of perfection is futile, aim for progress instead. Perfection is an illusion, something that we can never actually achieve. It's a moving target that always keeps us feeling like we're falling short. But progress? That's something real, something tangible. Focus on getting better, not on being perfect, and you'll find more joy in the journey. Your self-worth is non-negotiable. Never settle for anything or anyone that diminishes it. Knowing your worth means understanding what you deserve and refusing to accept less. It means setting boundaries, walking away from toxic situations, and standing up for yourself. Your worth isn't up for debate, treat it that way. Be careful what you tolerate, you are teaching people how to treat you. This is a big one. Every time you let something slide that bothers you, you're setting a precedent. You're showing people that it's okay to treat you a certain way. Speak up, set boundaries, and don't be afraid to demand respect. You deserve it, and it's up to you to make sure others know it. You will never be 100% sure about a decision, but always make a decision because it's better to go back and fix it than to never make it at all. Indecision keeps us stuck, paralyzed by the fear of making the wrong choice. But the truth is, no one is ever completely certain. Life is about making the best decision you can with the information you have, and then adapting if needed. Movement, even if imperfect, is better than standing still. Learn to say no without feeling guilty, it protects your time and priorities. We often say yes to things because we don't want to disappoint others, but every time you say yes to something that isn't aligned with your goals or well-being, you're saying no to yourself. Learning to say no is one of the most powerful forms of self-care. It's not about being selfish, it's about protecting your energy for what really matters. Chasing happiness will lead you to misery until you realize that happiness is the way. We often think of happiness as something we need to find, something that's out there waiting for us if only we achieve the right things. But happiness isn't a destination, it's a state of being. It's about choosing to find joy in the journey, in the little moments, rather than waiting for some perfect future. Maybe you aren't healing because you're trying to be who you were before, that person doesn't exist anymore. Healing means growth, and growth means change. You won't be the same person you were before the pain, and that's okay. Stop trying to go back to who you were, instead, focus on becoming the person you are now, a version of yourself that is stronger because of what you've been through. There will always be someone who can't see your worth, don't let it be you. Not everyone will recognize your value, and that's okay. You're not meant to be for everyone. But the most important thing is that you see your own worth. Never let someone else's inability to see your value make you doubt yourself. You learn nothing from life if you think you're right all the time. Growth requires humility, the willingness to accept that you don't have all the answers, that you make mistakes, and that there's always something new to learn. If you go through life thinking you're always right, you close yourself off to the possibility of growth and improvement. No one owes you anything, you have to work for what you want in life. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that because we want something, or because we worked hard, we deserve it. But life doesn't operate on a fairness system. The only way to get what you want is to keep working for it, even when it feels unfair, even when it feels impossible. Nothing worth having comes easy. There are things we don't want to happen but have to accept, things we don't want to know but have to learn, and people we can't live without but have to let go. Life is full of difficult truths, and part of growing up is learning to accept them. Acceptance doesn't mean resignation, it means acknowledging reality so that you can find a way forward. What you want requires consistency and discipline. Dreams are easy, everyone has them. What's hard is putting in the effort, day after day, to turn those dreams into reality. Consistency and discipline are what separate those who achieve from those who merely wish. It's about showing up even when you don't feel like it, even when it's hard. Your entire life can change in an instant, so instead of passively taking what you have for granted, be grateful for it and do whatever good you can with it. We never know when things might change, when something we take for granted might be taken away. Gratitude isn't just a feeling, it's an action. Appreciate what you have, and use it to make a positive impact, however small. The worst kinds of enemies are those who pretend to be your friends. It's a harsh truth, but not everyone who smiles at you is on your side. Some people will pretend to care while secretly hoping for your downfall. It's important to be discerning, to trust actions over words, and to protect your energy from those who don't have your best interests at heart. The actions of men are the best interpreters of their thoughts. People can say whatever they want, but it's their actions that reveal their true intentions. Pay attention to what people do, not just what they say. Actions speak louder than words, and they tell you everything you need to know about a person's character. Never decide what you can or cannot do based on your lowest points in life. We all have moments when we feel weak, when we fail, when we're at our lowest. But those moments don't define our potential. They're just temporary setbacks. Don't let a bad moment convince you that you can't achieve something great. If you're finding these thoughts helpful, don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and hit that notification bell. I love hearing from you, so leave a comment below and let me know which lesson resonates with you the most. Part 6. Here we are at the final part of our journey through these powerful life lessons. Let's wrap it up with some of the most valuable thoughts that can help us grow, stay true to ourselves, and find a bit more peace in the chaos of everyday life. Excuses won't fix your problems. Take responsibility for your actions. We all face challenges, and it's easy to blame circumstances or other people for where we are in life. But the truth is, the only way to move forward is to own up to our choices and actions. Taking responsibility isn't always comfortable, but it's empowering. It gives you control over your own future. Accept that you will make mistakes, and learn from them instead of dwelling on them. No one is perfect, and mistakes are inevitable. It's important to understand that mistakes don't define you, they're simply opportunities to learn and grow. The key is to not get stuck in regret but to take the lessons with you and keep moving forward. Befriend those who expand your thinking, not just your circle. It's great to have a lot of friends, but the quality of those relationships matters more than the quantity. Seek out people who challenge you, who inspire you, and who push you to be better. Surrounding yourself with like-minded people who are also committed to growth will elevate you in ways you may not even realize. Avoid making decisions when you're angry, and avoid making promises when you're happy. Emotions can cloud our judgment, whether positive or negative. When you're angry, it's easy to make choices you'll regret later, and when you're happy, you might overcommit to things that aren't realistic. Take a moment, let the emotion settle, and then decide. It'll save you a lot of trouble in the long run. You will never understand the damage you did to someone until the same thing is done to you. Empathy is a powerful thing, but sometimes it takes being on the receiving end of something to truly understand its impact. Be mindful of how your words and actions affect others. You never know what someone is carrying or how deeply you might hurt them. Be careful who you let into your life. Some people will come in and drain the life out of you, only to leave when there's nothing left. Not everyone deserves a place in your heart or your life. Choose your relationships carefully, and don't be afraid to let go of those who are toxic or draining. Your peace is worth protecting. Maturity is when you have the power to destroy someone who did you wrong, but you choose to walk away and let life take care of them. True maturity isn't about getting even, it's about rising above the pettiness. Holding on to anger and seeking revenge only keeps you chained to the past. Letting go, walking away, and allowing karma to do its work is a sign of real strength. You are the only person you can control. You can't change other people, you can't make them see your perspective, and you certainly can't force them to act the way you want. The only thing you have control over is yourself, your actions, your responses, your attitude. Focus on that, and you'll find a lot more peace in your life. Be humble enough to know you can lose everything, but be confident enough to know you can get it all back. Life is unpredictable, and nothing is guaranteed. Humility keeps us grounded and grateful for what we have, while confidence keeps us moving forward, even in the face of loss. It's about balancing the two, understanding that while nothing is permanent, you are capable of rebuilding no matter what happens. Remember that every time you try, you're making progress. We often think that progress only counts if we succeed, but the truth is, trying is progress in itself. Every time you put in the effort, you're learning, growing, and getting closer to your goal. Don't discount the value of trying, even if the outcome isn't perfect. Spend so much time on self-improvement that you have no time to criticize others. When you focus on your own growth, you realize that criticizing others is a waste of energy. Everyone is on their own journey, with their own struggles and challenges. Instead of pointing out what others are doing wrong, direct that energy towards bettering yourself. You'll be amazed at how much you can accomplish. Smart people stop overthinking once they understand that the best decisions require more gut feeling than pure intellect. Overthinking often leads to paralysis, and while it's important to analyze situations, there comes a point where you just need to trust your instincts. Sometimes your gut knows what's right before your mind can rationalize it. Trust yourself and take that leap. It all begins and ends in your mind. What you give power to has power over you. Work on mastering your mind. Your thoughts shape your reality. What you focus on, what you believe, those are the things that become your reality. If you constantly dwell on negativity, that's what you'll experience. But if you choose to focus on the good, to be grateful, to be optimistic, that's what you'll attract. Excuses are always there and easy to make. Finding a way is what takes courage. Anyone can come up with a reason why they can't do something, but finding a way around obstacles is what sets successful people apart. It's not about having no challenges, it's about finding a way to overcome them, no matter what. Be smart enough to realize that life doesn't wait for you to be okay. Life keeps moving, and sometimes that's a blessing. When things fall apart, it can feel like the world should stop, but it doesn't. And that's what helps us heal. Life moves forward, and eventually, so do we. Don't wait for the perfect moment to start living again, just start, and the rest will follow. Don't allow someone to treat you poorly just because you love them. Love is important, but it should never come at the cost of your self-respect. If someone is mistreating you, it's not your job to endure it just because you care. Healthy love respects boundaries, lifts you up, and doesn't require you to sacrifice your dignity. Every time you lie, you are creating problems that you will have to deal with in the future. Honesty may be hard in the moment, but it's always the best policy in the long run. Lies have a way of catching up with us, complicating our lives, and causing more pain than the truth ever could. Be honest, it's simpler, cleaner, and leads to fewer regrets. One who believes in themselves has no need to convince others. Confidence is quiet. When you truly believe in yourself, you don't need to shout it from the rooftops or seek validation from others. You're content with who you are and where you're going, regardless of what others think or say. Learn to miss someone without wanting them back. Not everyone who leaves your life is meant to return. It's natural to miss people, to think back on the good times. But missing someone doesn't mean they're right for you. It's okay to hold on to the good memories while understanding that the relationship wasn't meant to last. If life wasn't hard, you would never grow. Growth comes from challenges, from discomfort, from pushing through adversity. If everything were easy, there would be no incentive to change, to improve, or to learn. Embrace the hard times, they're what shape you into the person you're meant to become. Sometimes you just have to accept that some people can only be in your heart, not in your life. Not every relationship is meant to last forever, and that's okay. Some people are only meant to be part of your story for a chapter or two, and then you have to let them go. It doesn't mean the love or the memories weren't real, it just means it's time to move forward. The only way to feel better about yourself is to do things worth feeling good about. Confidence doesn't come from other people's praise, it comes from your own actions. When you do things that align with your values, when you challenge yourself, when you keep your promises, that's when you start to truly feel good about yourself. Sacrificing long-term joy for short-term pleasure is the easiest recipe for regret. Instant gratification might feel good in the moment, but it often leads to long-term consequences. Think about what truly matters to you, what will bring you lasting happiness, and let that guide your choices, even if it means sacrificing a moment of pleasure now. Thank you so much for joining me through all these parts of this video. I hope you found some value in these lessons, and that they've inspired you to think a little deeper about your own life. If you enjoyed this, please remember to subscribe, like this video, and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on more content like this. Leave a comment below about which of these insights resonated with you the most. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Until next time, keep growing, keep learning, and remember that life is all about the journey. Take care, everyone.